Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I am joined, as usual, by my friend Tate. Hi,
Hello,
Tate.
everyone. How's it going there?
And how are you?
I am good this morning. I just got done eating a little healthy breakfast. I'm normally every morning I go to the gym and I work out, but I was bad today. My body was feeling a little beat down and felt a little tired, so I stayed home.
That's good. You listen to your body.
It is important, especially when you work out a lot. Sometimes you get little aches and pains. It's best to listen to the body and sometimes take a break.
And I'm not trying to be rude here, but you're not 20 anymore. So, it's even more important to listen to your body and make sure that, if it's feeling tired or achy or anything, then you got to pay attention to those things.
I'm 25.
Well, I said you're not 21. I said you're not 20 anymore.
I'm not 25 either, for the record. And that's where we're going to leave this conversation.
I'll tell you later. No.
Excellent.
Okay, so we have a couple of topics today. We're going to start with the Impossible Burger. Have you ever heard of this?
I had never heard of this until you brought this to me today, or
recently.
Recently,
yeah.
Yes. And I did not realize there was such a huge market for this.
Well, there's a lot of people. Okay, so first we should mention that the Impossible Burger is a meatless burger. And I first learned about it from a friend of mine and then started hearing about it that same week at work, at a different job, and they were talking about it. My friend was talking about it. I was like, what is this thing? So I started looking it up, and it turns out that a number of places have them. Burger King, Red Robin.
The Impossible Whopper, baby.
Carl's Jr., I think, has it. You can find locations for places that serve these Impossible Burgers.
Okay, one question that I had right off the gate just kind of popped in my head. And I know Burger King's coming up with the Impossible Whopper and things like that. But what's the difference between the Impossible Whopper and a veggie burger?
Oh, you asked me a question that, veggie burgers, I think, have lots of different, I think they can have like black beans and those sorts of things.
Yes.
The Impossible Burger is meant to mimic meat.
Okay, so, but, because it sounds kind of similar to the same thing. I know that, a lot of veggie burgers will have a lot of black beans, a lot of, corn and other things, but it's made out of vegetables.
Right. And I think when you eat a veggie burger, I like veggie burgers, but it doesn't taste like a hamburger. I think the Impossible Burger is striving to give you a meatless experience that still tastes and looks and sort of has the mouthfeel of meat.
Okay. I'm the guy that has an unhealthy obsession with burgers. I love burgers.
What did you eat for breakfast?
We won't talk about that. Actually, I had cauliflower mashed potatoes, which aren't potatoes, and a hamburger patty. Mm-hmm. But as I've talked about on this show a number of times, I do the keto diet, and so my meals are a little more unique than others. And also, I make my meals up. I meal prep, so I make a lot of meals in advance, and then I don't really just say, bacon and eggs is for breakfast. It's just whatever I feel like for that day.
Right. It doesn't have to be a traditional breakfast food, but
that does definitely does show that I have an unhealthy obsession with burgers right there. So back to this Impossible Burger. So you're saying it's supposed to have the feel and the taste of a real burger.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard. Yes.
Now you are the veggie burger connoisseur.
I don't know if I'm a connoisseur, but I do like them. I've had them in different places.
We've been out a few times, and you've definitely ordered the veggie burger, which I always kind of tilt my head and look at you a little weird, but just don't say anything.
I know.
Compared to a regular burger, is there a big difference in taste?
To a veggie burger?
Yes.
Yes.
So it doesn't even taste like a burger then?
No, it tastes like, black beans and spices and all those things. I've never been a huge fan of just hamburgers until recently when I tried.
Shame.
I know. Until recently when I've tried a recipe created by someone who will remain nameless.
Yours truly.
You make the best burgers, frankly. And I actually enjoy those. But for me, growing up, a burger was just, as long as I could put ketchup and mayonnaise and lettuce and tomato and pickles on it, then, it didn't matter what was the protein factor in there.
You just covered the protein with 40 pounds of condiments then, that's what you're saying?
Pretty much, yes. So if I compare that way, then when I eat a veggie burger, I tended to do the same thing. Although, as I got older, I found other veggie burgers. Not all veggie burgers are created equal. Some of them have really terrible textures, and some of them have wonderful textures. Some of them, it just depends on what they use.
This is why I'm intrigued by this Impossible Whopper, strictly because you say it gives the feel and the taste of real meat.
Well, this friend of mine who originally told me about it said he and some friends went out and tried it, and his friend is a vegetarian, and she felt guilty after eating it.
Wow.
Because she felt like she'd eaten meat.
Wow, so it's that close to a...
Now, of course, she's a vegetarian, and I don't know how long it's been since she's eaten meat, so, her perspective as opposed to a meat eater's perspective might be different.
Now, I do have a confession on this one. And I know veggie burgers and Impossible Burgers are different, but when I was in college, I heard all about the craze that being a vegan and a vegetarian was so much healthier. Mm-hmm. And I was I had gotten a little bigger and wanted to lose weight, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try this. So my theory is I'm going to get the foods that I like the best. So I went to the store, and they had a box of frozen veggie patties.
And folks, this is... See, I'm going to give away your age again.
It's been long enough.
It's been a while. So veggie burgers have vastly improved since then. But also, you went to the store and got a box of frozen.
Frozen.
That's a factor.
And I call myself, I'm going to make myself the veggie burger equivalent of the Big Mac.
Were you only a vegan for one day?
I was a vegan for about I'm going to say it took me 30 minutes to cook the burger and get everything set up, and another minute to take 2 bites, and then I was over with being a vegan. That was the extent of my dipping my toe in the pool of veganism.
Wow.
So, I guess I'm a quitter.
Okay.
Right, so let's get back to this Impossible Burger.
So you're a fan of Big Macs, right?
Love them.
Would you try an Impossible Big Mac if they came out with it?
I would have to. Yes, I would.
I mean, I don't know. You're not as big of a fan of the Whopper.
The Whopper, you know what though? The Whopper is a good sandwich. I haven't had a Whopper in about 2 years. But the Whopper is a good sandwich. I'd be very intrigued to try it, especially if it has the taste of beef and the feel of beef. Then at that point, I would actually order the Impossible Whopper over the regular Whopper. If it tastes the same and it feels the same, but one's better for you, there's no. I would just never order a regular Whopper again.
Well, as for the nutrition, the burgers, and this is not including anything else, it's just the burger. This isn't including the bun or the sauces or the seasonings. A 4-ounce patty, the Impossible Burger is 240 calories, 14 grams of fat, 8 grams of which are saturated fat, 370 milligrams of sodium. That's not bad considering fast food. 9 carbohydrates. So that's probably the main difference between that and a regular burger. 3 grams of fiber and 19 grams of protein.
Actually, that's actually not bad at all. When you look at these numbers and you say, if you scroll back to those numbers again, let me go back to those numbers again. Okay, first off, one of the biggest problems with fast food is how much sodium is in the food. Heavy sodium. Being able, if you're a fast food person who eats a lot of fast food, you need to cut back on the sodium big time. That is one big no-no. So you're looking at cutting back on the sodium, which makes it better for you. The fact that it's less calories, the 3 extra grams of fiber, 19 grams of protein. That's actually a good thing. When I look at this patty and I think about this, if you're someone who eats fast food on a regular basis, stop it. First off, that's the first thing I'm going to tell you. Big Macs, Whoppers, fast food should not be consumed, but maybe once, twice a month at most.
I can't even remember the last time I had fast food.
Yes. Now, once upon a time when I was at my fighting weight in the 280s, 300s,
in the heavyweight category,
I would literally eat eat McDonald's or fast food once a day, once every other day.
Wow.
And I know a lot of other people that would eat that way as well. And it's just really bad for you.
See, and not being the huge burger connoisseur like you are, I would go to fast food just for like French fries, which
right.
Also not terribly healthy. But I think the question is this actually healthy? The Whopper, the Impossible Burger. And according to some dietitians, it is healthier, but it's still fast food. So if you go and you get an Impossible Whopper and you still get a large fries and a sugary soda, no.
It's still going to be bad.
It's not
for
that
you.
great.
Right.
If you get an Impossible Whopper, maybe like a side salad and something boring like water. Actually, I love water, but if you get water, a lot of people don't think of getting water at a fast food place. Then it's not so bad. But it's not something that, again, you should eat every day because it's still got a lot of saturated fat, etc.
Okay, if I went to a fast food place with you, and you ordered the Impossible an Impossible Whopper, a side salad, and a water, I think I'd go sit at another table. I'm just not.
That's fine because, I would just sit there with
You're making the smart choice.
And then you know what I'd do? I'd read because you left me alone. And then you'd really be embarrassed.
No, I just wouldn't even. I'd just get in the car and drive off at that point.
Guess I'm taking an Uber from wherever we're eating.
But saying that's the right thing. But most times when you're going to a fast food restaurant, you're going there because you're throwing healthy eating to the side. It's nice that there fast food restaurants are starting to get healthier options, such as a side salad, water, yogurt, apples slices.
For the kids, yeah.
They are trying to get healthier, and that is a good thing. It's just very slowly getting to a healthier alternative with the fast food places.
But if I go to a fast food restaurant, I mean, if I was being really disciplined, then I would get what we just talked about. But if I'm going to a fast food restaurant, I want French fries.
You want French fries, yes.
That's the problem. But we should actually go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about this topic. We'll also be talking about some tips for summer healthy living. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, and we'll be right back.
Still on the search of that one true love? on the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about, Tate abandoning me in fast food restaurants, but we were also talking about the Impossible Whopper. And Tate, any final thoughts on the Whopper before we talk about the Impossible Burger in general? Because there's an Impossible Foods website. That's where this comes from.
Well, it is a healthier option, but it's kind of not as healthy as one would think. It's like going to McDonald's and saying, I'm going to eat healthier, so I'm going to go with the fried chicken sandwich. You know, it's healthy breast meat, but it's been deep fried.
Right. But this may be an option for people who really, really like meat, but they're looking to eat less. If it's true. In terms of the mouthfeel, we're going to have to try it at some point.
Yes.
So that we can speak specifically.
We will come back because we will. I will eat the Impossible Whopper patty, but I won't eat the bun. I've given bread up. I've given carbs up.
Yes.
So I don't mess with that.
There's still 9 carbs in this, so just beware.
Well.
Okay. So according to the Impossible Foods website, in case you're curious as to what the Impossible Burger is made of. Now, if it's a regular burger, in theory, it's just burger. That's not always the case. But the Impossible Burger is water, soy protein concentrate, coconut oil, sunflower oil, natural flavors. That always worries me a little bit. 2% or less of potato protein, methyl cellulose, yeast extract, cultured dextrose, food starch modified, soy leg hemoglobin, salt, soy protein isolate, mixed, tocopherols, which is vitamin E, zinc gluconate, thiamine hydrochloride, which is vitamin B1, sodium ascorbate, vitamin C, niacin, pyridoxine hydrochloride, which is vitamin B6, riboflavin, vitamin B2, and vitamin B12.
Okay.
That's it. I'm done reading everything forever.
Well, when you look at the main ingredients and you break that down, water, soy protein concentrate, coconut oil, sunflower oil, and natural flavors. I don't like that natural flavors. There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things that could be under natural flavors.
You know, also, this is one of the reasons when you listen to this list of foods, the reason why it is just better to make your own burgers or go to a place that has quality meat, or it just doesn't seem as a healthy person who's become a healthy person, seeing all the chemicals concern me. I don't have a problem with the soy protein and the coconut oil, but the natural flavors and everything else that they put in there just doesn't, I don't know, just seems a little weird to me.
I mean, I guess it's good that there's vitamin E and vitamin B1 and those things, but do you really need those in your burger? Does that help the taste? I'm curious as to why those, because whenever there's a whenever there's a long list of things that I can't really pronounce, I worry a little bit about my ingredients list.
Yes, I agree with you. Once again, it's okay to have fast food every once in a while, but I would not make the Impossible Burger part of my daily staple. No way.
And you can get it at grocery stores, but if you're looking to try it out and about, like we said, Impossible Whopper, I believe Carl's Jr. has one, and it of course depends on the area you're in.
Red Robin.
So Red Robin does. Lots of places do. We looked where we live, which is in Northern California, in the Sacramento area, and there's about 50 places that say they offer the Impossible Burger. I then looked in my home state of Montana, thinking, is there going to be any? And actually, there were, and they were in the places that I expected them to be, like Missoula, Kalispell, Bozeman, and Helena, which are and there's only one. And actually, each of those places it's Qdoba.
What the heck's Qdoba?
It's a sandwich place.
Okay.
That's funny. It's Qdoba. Of course, I've only eaten there
There's
once,
only two people in Montana, so you left.
Shush.
So there's down to one and a prairie dog. So
there are prairie dogs. That's just okay. We're moving on. At any rate, so if you're interested in trying this, you can go to the Impossible Foods website, and they have a locator map, and you can find out where you can get this. All right, so are you ready to move on from Impossible Foods?
Yes. I guess I wasn't the biggest supporter of the Impossible Burger as I thought I would be.
Okay, so that's your final wrap up. I'm still intrigued. I would like to try it, and then I would maybe have a different opinion, but I don't know. Again, I don't think it's something that you should necessarily eat all the time, every day.
I'll try it because I'm curious to see if it does taste like beef and if it feels like beef.
Yes, because often people say these things and then you try something and you're like, blah.
And for the people who keep hearing me say feels like beef, that sounds kind of funny. But beef has its own texture, and when you're eating food, texture is very important. Mm-hmm. So that's why I keep saying, taste and feel.
All right. So it is summer. You may not know that, but it's summer.
June 21st is past. It is now officially summer.
It is officially summer. And I would say, normally at this point I would say we know it's summer because it's 8,000 degrees, but it is only supposed to be, for the next week, it's not supposed to get above 95. Now, for some of you, that you might think, what? That's crazy. But for us, that's lovely.
Take it for a guy who grew up in the Cleveland, Ohio area. 95 in California is like 75 in the Midwest or the East Coast. It's a dry heat. It's actually fantastic. So, and also we are very spoiled as well because we get pretty much fantastic weather 10 out of 12 months.
And now take it from somebody who grew up in Montana where you still have to wear many layers in the summer, and 95 is hot.
Yes. If you grew up with Eskimos or moose or Mises.
Wow, that was kind of wow.
I'm just saying, if you grew up in those areas where it's really cold climate, 95 degrees is scorching.
It's better than 105. At any rate,
yes.
So summer is here.
Yes.
And that means that people tend to be more active, which is a good thing. But what are some things that you need to be aware of in terms of staying healthy in the summer? Is this something that you think about, Tate?
Yes. As I become more focused on health and nutrition and spending a lot more time out and exercising and being more active, summer health is important because there's a lot of things that can factor into having a healthy summer.
Mm-hmm. So we are looking at a list. This is from, what is this from? Hello Magazine online. A list for top 10 healthy ways to stay, geez, help me out, Tate.
Top 10 ways to stay healthy over the summer.
I was trying to mix up all the words.
These things happen sometimes.
It does. That's why I have you here. So we can go through this list and agree or disagree or, add our own things.
Okay.
So the first one is one that I would very much agree with, and that's wear your SPF.
That is a major one.
Now, you have a darker skin tone than I do.
I was just going to touch on that in a second.
I am very, very, very pasty, which means that I burn very easily, although not as easily as my poor sister. But for my friend Tate here, who does have a darker skin tone than I do, anybody has a darker skin tone than I do, many people would say, well, you don't need to wear sunscreen, right, Tate?
That is you jump right in my head. One of the things for years and years and years, there's a lot of misconceptions, and you're like, you're black, so you don't have to wear it. And I went to a place called Cedar Point, which is the largest roller coaster park in the world. And the lines are really long, and we went there and had a fantastic time. And my friend Jill, she looks over at me and she says, your nose is peeling. And I'm like, what? And I look, and I have like this horrible, horrible sunburn on my nose and my face because they were smart enough to put, sunscreen on. But being a black person, I'm like, we don't need that. Let's roll. And let me tell you something. You can get a little toasty.
You probably need it less than I do, but still,
Right.
you still want to combat the possible effects of, skin cancer and those types of things.
Yes, it is very important that you definitely, even no matter black, white, Indian, Latino, everyone should wear sunscreen because not only will it for sunburn, possible skin cancer, but hey, a guy can be vain sometime. You don't want to start looking old before your time.
That's right. So it is important to use sunscreen. This says at least SPF 30, even better is 50. Now, I know there are some studies that have said that after a certain SPF, it doesn't really matter. But I figure, hey, if 30 is good, 50 isn't going to hurt me.
I saw somewhere there was like SPF like 75.
I've seen that too.
And I'm like, is that not like a stormtrooper like outfit where you have like a hood and like armor on that protects, that's...
Hey, some people want that.
Or a leather coat. SPF 75 has to be like a leather coat.
This says for sensitive skin, a mineral-based sunscreen is best, that you should try not to sit in the sun during peak hours, which means being between 10 and 4. To minimize UV radiation. That doesn't work for everybody. If you work outside in the summer, you have to be outside during those times. So you should definitely reapply sunscreen at least every 2 hours. Definitely immediately after you get done swimming. And always remember to use a facial sunscreen as well, because just because Tate, there's SPF in your makeup, it's not enough.
I make sure to always have SPF eyeshadow. I'm lying here. One of the
he really rocks that smoky eye.
One of the things I think about when I see that is when you live in California and you decide that you want to go to the beach, you're going during the peak hours. Mm-hmm. You're going to get there, it says 10 to 4. Well, most times you're getting there about 11 o'clock and you're staying out there until like 11 to 6. Or with my friends, 11 to midnight. Mm-hmm. You're hanging out on the boat. You're hanging out on the beach. You have to be diligent with the sunscreen. And I would highly recommend for my more pastier friends that you set your watch and set a timer. And I would say every hour you should be like a rotisserie chicken, just basting yourself every hour with another layer.
It's kind of annoying, but they do have the spray-on sunscreen now that actually works better than it used to. So we do need to take a second break of the podcast. And when we come back, we'll be talking about more tips. What was that face?
Oh, I was just so into SPF. I just was disappointed that we're going on a break.
Tate wanted to talk about SPF for the next 4 hours, but we are going to take a break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about sunscreen. Tate was so engrossed by sunscreen that we almost didn't take a break, but we are back now, and we will move on from sunscreen. I know you're sad.
It'll be okay.
Okay. So what else to do for healthy tips in the summer? Drink plenty of water, which you should do all the time, but you should definitely do more in the summer because it's hotter.
You know, I agree with this one, and who argues with drink more water, but get more fluids in you, healthy fluids, meaning that doesn't mean drink more Diet Coke or regular Coke or Pepsi or anything like that, not meaning to say anything bad about those products, but water, Crystal Light, a little fruit in your water, something like that, but you need to hydrate. And I have a big group of friends we do a lot of fun things together. And when you're hanging out at the pool or you're hanging out at the beach or you're hiking or doing something and you're talking, time flies. And you literally can go 2, 3, 4 hours without drinking and not realize you're dehydrated.
Or go that length of time with just drinking like beer or something. That's a big thing in the summer. I'm not being snarky.
No,
it's just that
not.
If you're hanging out, you're having a barbecue, you're at the beach, people tend to be social and drink. But you've got to mix that water in too, because drinking in the sun is not good for you.
Right. And if you're big time partying, I would really recommend the 1-for-1 method. If you're having a beer, your next drink should be a water. Yep. You need to balance that out because dehydration can come back to haunt you.
Absolutely. And if you need some incentive, you'll be less hungover if you drink more water.
And pretty much what is a hangover but dehydration? Yeah.
Okay, so Tate, this one is for you.
This next one, I have a great story for you guys. I'll go ahead and tell them.
And this one is beware of quote unquote healthy smoothies. Now, smoothies are great in the summer. They're cold. They're fresh. They're sweet. But
okay. Okay. Here's my funny story. I was trying to figure out how to become a little healthier. I was back to being a big boy. I was in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta, and I decided that I was going to try to make sure I did not gain a lot of weight while on vacation, because you go on a cruise or you go on a vacation and you will gain so much weight.
Especially at places like the inclusive resort that you were at, where they just have food everywhere.
Exactly. And so I'd get up in the morning, I'd have some fruit, something kind of healthy, maybe a little bit of bacon or sausage, but not much. Mostly I'd hang out with the fruit. For lunch, I would make sure I had like a nice little healthy green salad. I was determined to be Mr. Healthy while on vacation, but was hanging out in the pool a lot. Probably 75% of my time I hung out in the pool and had this really awesome swim up bar. Everything's all inclusive. So I wasn't thinking. I swim up to the bar and they had a whole list of different smoothies. I mean, banana smoothies, you name it, they had it. And I'm not an alcohol drinker, so I wasn't having the margaritas and all that. So I'm like, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to try the smoothies. So I'm pounding smoothies. I'm swimming. I'm doing flips. I'm doing everything under the sun, having a blast, swim up there again. 10 days hanging out at that pool. None of my clothes fit. I think I gained like 20 pounds on that trip. This trip that I was supposed to be Mr. Healthy on, that I was determined not to gain weight, I literally gained 20 pounds. Because one of the things, when you look at smoothies, everyone thinks of a smoothie as a healthy option. Smoothies are really cold, sugary drinks. I almost called it Kool-Aid. It's so sugary.
Fruit has natural sugar, which is better for you, but then, it depends on what else they make it with.
But they put the concentrated syrups in it.
Right.
And everything
Did they make it with ice cream? Did they make it with really sweet frozen yogurt? There's so many things that can contain hidden calories.
So I'm knocking back 10, 12 smoothies a day, which is pretty much having like 10, 12 bowls of ice cream a day. And it's just like, I flew back and I was like Jabba the Hutt. So Jabba the Hutt. So their recommendation is to, if you're going to do a smoothie, try to do a green smoothie, which is made with both fruit and veggies. Still sweet, but much lower in sugar. Yes, and way better for you.
Yes. Exfoliate is their next tip. So summer means an increase of dead skin cells, and so it's important to exfoliate your skin.
Got to stay young, looking young.
And, you don't need to buy necessarily expensive products. You can make your own, like sugar scrub, and this is the one case where sugar is okay because you're not ingesting it.
And then they find out later on that we've been pulling it through osmosis.
Probably. There's a million homemade exfoliants that if you want to try that route, or you can buy something, of course.
Now, when you say exfoliate, I just want to make sure. When you do, let's say in the morning when you're showering, and you have a scrub, that's the same as exfoliating as well, right?
Like a loofah in the shower?
Yes.
I believe so. I mean, it seems like it should.
Because exfoliating is very important. It's important to keep your skin healthy, which means exfoliating. And nothing kills your skin more than over baking it in the sun. So removing those dry skin cells would be really helpful and moisturizing.
I think in terms of the scrub, like I don't use a loofah on my face. So I need to remember when I wash my face in the summer that I need to exfoliate those dead skin cells.
Yes, that is very important.
So, hay fever, tackle your hay fever. Oh, God. Yeah. Summer
this is Sarah's category. I'm just going to shut up over here.
Summer, it can be horrible if you have any kinds of allergies. So you should make sure that you take care of your home, vacuum, clean your house regularly to get rid of excess pollen. Try to shower or change your clothes after you've been outside, because that stuff sticks in. If you have really terrible showers, if you have really terrible allergies, you may want to try a sinus rinse, because things get stuck in your sinuses and just make things worse. So if you mow the lawn, do a sinus rinse to get all of that pollen, all that dust out of your sinuses.
This is something I've never had an issue with, and I'm very lucky on that one.
Yeah, well, I'm on quite the cocktail these summer months, just to. For me, I mean,
that would be a euphemism for you're on quite a cocktail. You want to explain that a little?
Oh my
bit
gosh! So my doctor has me taking an antihistamine in the morning and antihistamine at night, even though they're 24-hour. I'm on a daily inhaler, backed up by my rescue inhaler. I use Flonase, which is you spray it up your nose every day, and then sometimes I still need to take Tylenol Sinus. And I used to get shots, but I'm off the shots right now, and so I'm taking this cocktail. And for me, I mean, I sneeze and I have asthma and I do all the, my sinuses, I get sinus infections. But one of the worst things, and it's not something that you might not think about, the roof of my mouth itches.
What?
The roof of my mouth itches so bad that if I don't control it, I have actually worn a hole in the roof of my mouth from scratching with my tongue.
Wow, that is crazy.
It's awful.
Okay, I don't know. This is a world I know nothing about. I'm the guy that, as a kid, I used to go to Alabama and visit my family, and like bale hay and load up like hay trucks over the summer to make extra money over the summer. So that never bothered me.
No, that you're lucky. But moving on from my mouth is itching just talking about this, so let's move on.
Hole in the roof of your mouth. Okay, let's move on.
So these next two are related. Keep up the exercise regime and get swimming. So, you may want to try something new during the summer for your exercise. If you always run on the treadmill during the winter, maybe run outside. Or, some people will prefer outside to the treadmill anyway. But you could go for a bike ride. You could head to the lake or the pool.
Now, the exercise one, surprisingly, in the summertime, people are traditionally more active. And so their activities go up. But one of the things that I have seen from people who aren't as healthy, they tend to exercise less in the summertime.
Because it's hot.
Because it's hot. There's things going on. Some unhealthy or people who are fitness is not their major priority can tend to do less exercise in the summer, where in the wintertime there's nothing to do. So you just want to exercise.
Now, this one, get swimming. This is a great option because if you don't like working out when it's hot, you can get in the pool. It's a cooler option. Water aerobics or those types of things are better for your joints. If you have trouble, like if you have knee pain, you can't run, water aerobics is a great alternative because you aren't putting undue stress on your joints and it keeps you cooler. So if you want to be active in the summer but you hate the heat, water aerobics or swimming, swimming laps or playing with your kids in the pool or the lake might be a good option.
See, I'm looking at that and I'm like, I'm not doing water aerobics or any of that. I'm like, either find a friend with a pool, either you have a pool or a boat, and go boating and go have a blast and enjoy the summer. Get out there and swim a little bit with your friends.
Well, I know a lot of people who like water aerobics, so you just hush.
No, and I'm not saying anything bad about water aerobics.
It's just not for you, I know.
Right.
I know. Protect your hair. Probably not one we think of very often.
Very few people think of this.
But if you are swimming in the summer, if you're out in the sun in the summer, your hair can take a lot of damage. Chlorine is not good for your hair. So you may want to try something like a clarifying shampoo to remove the chlorine or any excess product of sunscreen. And, our heads burn. So even though you can't really put sunscreen in it would be nice if they made a shampoo with sunscreen in it.
Actually, they do. I'm almost positive
they probably do, and I just haven't done because my head burns, and I usually wear a hat.
Matter of fact, because on one show or something I was watching or looking at, that there's a number of different products that have come out with shampoo with SPF in it and things, just because of the fact that there are a lot of people with thinning hair. And also the fact that the sun really just fries your head and fries your hair. If you're in and out of a pool, the chlorine is really stripping your hair. In the summertime, sometimes people's hair gets just destroyed. So finding a shampoo or a sunscreen for your hair and your scalp, I think, is a very important thing. And Sarah's looking up right now.
There is there are options. This isn't necessarily sunscreen with shampoo with sunscreen, but there are options for your head. That may be something we should talk about in more detail on another episode.
Yes, and it's a hair and scalp screen.
Yes, and so we actually have a friend, and Tate, I don't even know if you know this, but she has always been very, very careful with the sunscreen. She looks amazing for her age, but she recently had to have spots of skin cancer removed from her head.
Yes, and even though if you can be diligent and just lather up the face and arms, but if you're skipping the top of your head, that's dangerous. And so, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. That was my point. And so, trust me, sunburn on your head is disgusting when it starts to peel. Trying to get that dead skin out of your hair, it's not good.
Yes, and also if you're someone that's been blessed with a great locks of hair, you don't want it breaking off and going into split ends and anything looking all like a like you stuck your hand in a light socket just because you were having a great time at the pool. So take care of your hair, take care of your scalp, because that is very important.
Quickly, because we need to wrap this up. The last 2 tips are to eat well by the pool and take up a new hobby. Eat well by the pool is, mostly you spend the day at the pool, you tend to eat a lot of junk.
I agree. Traditionally, with my friends, chips and salsa, queso, regular chips, hot dogs, hamburgers. You don't see a lot of healthy snacks. And if you're hanging around the pool, kind of having cut up like strawberries and fruit and having broccoli and cauliflower with a little dip on the side would be perfect finger food for you while you're at the pool. Mm-hmm.
As far as taking up a new hobby, you could do that really anytime, but summer might be a time to try something like gardening. It has been proven that getting your hands in dirt is really good for you in terms of mental health. So you may want to take up gardening. Maybe you want to try tennis. I don't know. So what kind of summer hobbies might you take up, Tate?
Well, for the summer, traditionally, I like to get together with friends, go to barbecues, pool parties.
Those aren't hobbies.
Those are not hobbies, but I'm just saying that
you don't want to take up a new hobby because you're too busy being social.
The hobby, the reason is the most important thing, and the reason why you have a hobby is to keep you active. And if I'm gonna pick up a hobby, I'm gonna join a hiking group. I'm gonna go hiking more often. Things like that. But other hobbies can be, like you said, gardening, going for walks, so joining a walking group. Maybe
there's all sorts of programs that take place in parks in the summer, like yoga in the park or Tai Chi in the park. I see all kinds of things. Maybe try something like that.
Yes, I agree with you.
Wow, we end on a conciliatory note. Okay. So,
Kumbaya.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. Please join us again next time when we'll be talking about, crazily enough, health or wellness.
I like wellness better than health.
You like wealth and wellness?
Give me some wealth and I'll be happy.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.